Hi everyone, my name is Mr. Chris Shelton. Welcome to Critical Q&A. Welcome to our series on the history of paper. Thank you for enjoying this series. It's an honor and a privilege to be here today with you guys. My name is Chris Shelton. Okay, as you guys know by now, or should know, I have a master's degree. So, I'm qualified to bring you this presentation on the history of paper. It's an honor and a privilege. Thank you guys for being here today. Anyone that criticizes my chat will be banned on any and all media that they have. Anyone that criticizes my chat, your movements will be monitored. And I'm talking to you, Chad, and I'm talking to you, Aaron Levin Smith. Both you bozos will be dealt with aggressively, and I'll sue both of you. So, let's just try to be respectful of me. I know you're both jealous of my master's degree, but that's besides the point. So, these are facts backed up by documents. Hey, Poe, how you doing? Good to see you. You ready for the history on paper? Poe on the go. He's a good guy. Anyone that watches this should sub to his channel. Poe's a good guy. He's a good seed. And that's a fact, folks. And it's backed up by documents. So, these are facts that we're talking about. And they're proven. Okay? So, and that's a fact. And Poe, if you're still listening, Matt Cox had a live tonight, and he mentioned Clearwater Chad, and he mentioned you two, and he mentioned Aaron, all in the same sentence. It was kind of later in the stream. I was going to tell you about that, but I just got home here. Yeah, let's talk about the stream now, okay? So when I flip to the history of paper, we can't. I won't be able to look at the comments. Yeah, it was cool. I couldn't believe it. You know how me always make a lot of comments in the chat. So, he mentioned, I'll briefly say he mentioned, Matt mentioned how we went up to, and had lunch over there, and, how we were going back to see Aaron to, not visit the church, but, so that was cool. It was only about 30 seconds. It was more than halfway into his live. It was just tonight, so it was cool. Okay, so history on paper, folks.
Non-woven material primarily used for writing, artwork, and packaging, usually made by mechanically or chemically processing cellulose fibers derived from wood or other
So they use wood, pulp, or fiber, folks.
Vegetable sources in water, followed by draining the water and leaving the fiber evenly distributed on the surface, a process followed by pressing and drying. From this video, you will learn about what writing materials people were using before the invention of paper, how the paper was invented, and how its usage has evolved over time.
Interesting.
Before the invention of paper, in China, the oldest inscriptions were carved on bones and shells from the late 13th century BC until around 500 BC, when they began to write on bamboo stalks.
I never knew that they used to write on shells and stuff like that, folks.
Birch bark writing was used in India from the 1st century AD and in some parts of Russia during the Middle Ages. Palm leaves were used as writing materials in South Asia and in Southeast Asia, dating back to the 5th century BC and possibly much earlier. Ancient Mediterranean civilizations used clay tablets for sophisticated accounting systems.
Oh wow, clay tablets they used too. That's interesting. In Mesopotamia?
While ancient Athenians used broken pieces of pottery, known as ostraca, to record the individual nominations of Greek leaders for ostracism. In Egypt, papyrus was used as a writing surface from the 3rd millennium BC. Papyrus was made from the pith of the papyrus plant, and the word paper is etymologically derived from papyrus. Papyrus was also used by the Greeks and Romans until the 1st century BC, when it was replaced by the parchment, a cheaper alternative to the papyrus. Parchment was made from goat, sheep, or cow skin.
That's very interesting, folks. Hope you guys are taking notes.
For the first time around the 5th century BC, and was used in Europe until the Middle Ages. The exact date or the inventor of the paper are not known. The earliest extant paper fragment was unearthed at Fangmatan in Gansu province, China, and was likely part of a map dated to 179 to 141 BC.
Oh, that's a long time ago, 141 BC, folks.
The Han Dynasty Chinese court official Cai Lun is credited as the inventor of a method of papermaking inspired by wasps and bees, using rags and other plant fibers in 105 AD. Cai Lun became famous after his invention and received the title of Marquis and Lordship of a small village.
Very interesting, folks.
He committed suicide in 121 AD after a false rumor.
Oh, so he was the Chinese inventor of the modern paper-making process. Okay. 50 AD to 121 AD.
Spread that he intended to harm the newly ascended Emperor An. Cai Lun's standardization of paper and the paper-making process are considered enormously impactful to human history, spreading literature and knowledge around the world, as well as revolutionizing the means of communication. The Chinese...
See, without the Chinese, without paper, none of this would be happening, folks.
Used paper for padding and wrapping, and starting around the late 6th century, they used it as toilet paper. During the Tang dynasty, paper was used to make tea bags, and during the Song dynasty, the Chinese government...
I did not know that either, folks. Paper was used to make tea bags. Okay.
Produced the world's first known paper money, or banknotes. The origami, or the art of paper folding, appeared in Japan in the 6th century. After printing was popularized in China during the Song dynasty, the demand for paper grew substantially, and in the year 1101, 1.5 million sheets of paper were sent to the Chinese capital.
So in the year 1101, that's when paper made its started getting popular, folks.
After its origin in central China, the production and use of paper spread steadily, arriving to Vietnam in the 3rd century, to Korea in the 4th century, to Japan in the 5th century, and to India in the second half of the 7th century. Paper was used in Central Asia by the 8th century, but its origin is not clear. According to some sources, Chinese prisoners captured by the Abbasid Caliphate in the Battle of Talas in 751 introduced paper manufacturing to Samarkand and the Middle East.
Oh, very interesting. Went to the Middle East too, folks.
The 8th century, paper started to replace parchment as the primary writing material for administrative uses in Baghdad, the capital of the Abbasids. The expansion of public and private libraries and illustrated books within Islamic lands was one of the notable outcomes of a drastic increase in the availability of paper.
Paper is good, folks.
Eventually, paper arrived to Europe, the oldest known paper document being the Mozarabic Missal of Silas from the 11th century. The first recorded paper mill in the Iberian Peninsula was in Sativa in 1056. Paper mills were established in the Italian peninsula and in France until 1300, and the papermaking spread then to the rest of Europe in the next 2 centuries. In 1450, German inventor Johannes Gutenberg developed the world's first mechanical movable type printing press. His invention started the printing revolution, playing a key role in the development of the Renaissance Reformation, Age of Enlightenment, and Scientific Revolution, as well as laying the material basis for the modern knowledge-based economy and the spread of learning to the masses. In 1774, German jurist Justus Klaproth invented a process of removing printing inks from paper, allowing it to be reused, known today as de-inking.
Oh, very good. He developed a system so it could be reused. Okay.
1806, Henry Fordrinier developed the Fordrinier machine, the first paper-making machine. The machine was an
1806, folks, first paper-making machine.
Industrialized version of the historical hand paper-making method, which could not satisfy the demands of developing modern society for large quantities of printing and writing materials. In 1844, Canadian Charles Fennerty and German Friedrich Gottlob Keller had invented the machine and associated process to make use of wood pulp in papermaking. This innovation ended the nearly 2,000-year use of pulp drugs and started a new era for papermaking.
New era, folks. New era.
With the introduction of cheaper paper, books, newspapers, personal diaries, and letters became more and more widespread by the end of the 19th century. In 1922 was published in Germany a standard system of paper formats to increase the efficiency of producing office furniture.
Oh,
This
standardized in Germany, folks. Keep your eye on Germany.
Became both an international standard known as ISO 216, as well as the United Nations document format in
ISO 216, folks, that's the standard.
1975, and it is today used in almost all countries.
ISO 8A4 1975, folks, US letter.
With a few exceptions. During the 20th century, the technology behind the paper machine developed further so that the production speed and the quality of the produced paper.
So what he's saying is nowadays we get better paper, better quality in the 21st century. Okay.
Increased. Now, at the beginning of the 21st century, the paper is considered a cheap commodity, which usually led to a high level of consumption and waste. The demand for tree-free paper products is rising, while there is a trend towards sustainability in the pulp and paper
So we should keep recycling, folks.
Industry.
Very good video, folks. Very good. Okay. Let me know if you guys need a review on that or what. Okay. You know, the history of paper is very important. Okay. Without paper, we wouldn't have the internet, folks. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I hear you, Kim. I hear you. You know, think about Elron or Ron. He didn't foresee the internet. You know, he missed out on the internet. He didn't see it coming. For someone that, you know, he knew a lot of stuff about Xenu and this and that, you would think he would have foreseen the internet. So, you know, that's probably a problem. And, you know, for anyone that lives in 2024, hypothetically, if you were going to clean your windows with newspaper, I mean, you know, it's not really available like it used to be in the last 200 years. This past 10 years, 20 years with the internet, you know, I mean, the only thing we get at my house is the ads and stuff come whether you want them or not, just like the junk mail ads, and it's not like a regular newspaper. They're as you guys know, they have a lot of ink in them, a lot of colored ink. And if you were hypothetically cleaning your windows with newspaper, you would want to use black and white. So that's a problem. That's an issue. But Kim's right. You know what I mean? You know, just take a little sip of water, folks. So for anyone just joining us, yeah, I hear you, Renee. Yeah, I hear you. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. And it was definitely a rough day with that news earlier. Um, about Tony. But I appreciate that you're here, and get some sleep and take a day off or something, hopefully, if you could. And we're not going to be too long here. We're just checking in, trying to go live more, folks, just to check in with everyone. And I like going live, and I really kind of basically just learned how to use the slides. Having fun with that, folks. And my name is Chris Shelton. I do have a master's degree, and I don't put up with any nonsense on my chats. I don't put up with any non-performance. Okay. So appreciate you guys being here. Yeah, maybe we'll call it quits. We went through the lecture on paper. Maybe we'll do another one tomorrow night. Definitely maybe the wrong night to do this with everything going on, but we wanted to bring you this. I scheduled it earlier in the night. I do appreciate everyone being here today. Actually, I probably should have went on later. We got people in the Australia that come on late. But anyways, it's not how it worked out. But I hope everyone gets some sleep and has a good morning tomorrow. Thank you for listening to this critical Q&A. Sorry we didn't have the struggles, not snuggles cam. Dog is sleeping. In any event, like I said, my name is Chris Shelton, and I do have a master's degree. Like him. All right, so we're gonna call it quits a little early tonight because I'm tired too, folks. So everyone have a great night. Thanks for joining us. Bye now. I don't know if I could do that. I don't have that down, Renee. Sorry. Okay, I could do the head roll. All right, have a good night, folks.